always heard the stories from my grandmother and my grandfather, and how it's kind of passed down different stories of paranormal stuff. So in 1982, that summer I stayed in the house by myself, and this is true. I may have slept an hour a night. From the time it got dark, you could sit in that house, daylight, quiet as a mouse, nothing. Get in bed, and the sun gets dark, then that's when the noises ramp up. It sounds like bats hitting the wall, people stomping their feet, rolling, heard voices. And I slept with a shotgun that entire summer. I slept downstairs, and I could not wait for it to get daylight.
We're here at Fonti Flora Plantation, just outside of Blair, South Carolina. This plantation originated in the 1700s, so it's just a location that is chock full of history. You have numerous generations of this family living here. And what's interesting is a lot of times these plantations will change hands over time with different families, and this is still owned by the original family members. The current descendant of them is named Kent, and he had called me over a year and a half ago now, asking for my assistance because he was having some sort of paranormal activity going on that absolutely terrified him, and he actually thought it was demonic in nature. After talking with Kent, via email first, and then I called him on the phone, and after talking with him, I got the feeling that he was genuine in what he had experienced, and he was truthful and sincere about how scared he was of some of the paranormal experiences he had over the years here. There is like a shadow type being or shadow entity that appears to be wearing some sort of cowboy hat with a long trench coat, and he's seen all over the property. Many family members and family friends that have been friends of theirs for years, they come here and hunt, on this property. It's a vast property, 600 plus acres, and they manage a deer population. And some of the people that have been here have had paranormal experiences as well, and some have never returned since those experiences.
I have many people that would kind of share their experiences with you. I have another guy from Tennessee, a friend of mine named Chip Diamond. He came here for the first time about 6 years ago, and he had experience, and he thought it was me hitting his foot, but it wasn't. He won't even go in the house in the daytime hardly. But he stays in his little tent when he comes. He won't sleep in the house.
So Kent at one point had a local minister come in and did his walk through of the house and did a blessing of the house, and he's relayed to Kent that he felt that what was in that house is demonic in nature. However, that's on one's perspective. I've been here numerous times investigating now, and for me personally, my opinion is it either got rid of what was in here that could have been demonic, but there is a heavy presence here on this property and in this house. Whether it's demonic or not is left to be said. And we're gonna see what we can get on this particular investigation to see if we can determine if it is in fact demonic in nature or if it's just a normal, so to speak, type of haunting. That's what we do. So, that's what we're here to find out. And we're here to, just find out more information about this house.
Driving up to this place, first impression is just, it kind of sets you back a little bit because it really is stepping back in history. And I've had this experience a lot of times. I've been fortunate in that way to go to these historic locations they're somewhat isolated. They're sort of in a pocket because, as I said, in a rural area of the state, there's not much sign of modern conveniences when you look around even on the property. And this is a very large property. It's several hundred acres still, was much larger previously. But approaching a location like this, it sort of is like stepping back in time in a sense. And along with that comes a whole range of different feelings and different things that you experience. This particular location is haunted, which is why we're all here, to investigate and see if we can get to the bottom of some of the mysteries that are occurring here. And it's one of these places that really is a multi-layered puzzle. There's so many levels of history and experiences that have occurred here. We're talking about a building in itself that experienced the American Civil War, the First World War, the Second World War, and all the other amazing parts of history in between. And now, today, we're seeing, at the very least, the remnants of things that happened in the past. Perhaps residual energies, perhaps recordings of things that happened, but maybe something else too, maybe a conscious presence that is still here.
Union soldiers came here in the Civil War. They basically looted the place, tore everything up. They got my great-great-grandfather and put him on the back of a horse and marched him up down the hall backwards until he fell off and got hurt. And then before they left, they lit a fire to it. And everybody was able to get the fire out after they left. Front one room, we still have furniture with charred marks from that war. My grandfather in the 60s repaired all the wall damage. It was still charred from the Civil War, 1960s.
There's a whole legend about this shadowy hat man that wanders the property around in this area. The place where we're sitting right now used to be a maze, and the stories say that some of the children who died on this property were buried here previously. There are stories of people dying, a gentleman dying during a tornado at one point. Different people who have worked on the land have perished here. We really don't know all the deaths. I've also, for a very long time, been someone who is drawn to studying history, and not just in the paranormal sense, but the history of our country and our world. And walking into a location like this, I can't help but sort of feel the other times, the other things that occurred there. And then my mind sort of races back, and having studied so much, I kind of imagine what the activity must have been like, what some of the slices of life were like back during the times of this house's heyday. And that in itself gives a whole different impression that that I get when I walk into one of these locations. Easily we could spend a month here and only just scratch the surface. Unfortunately, we have limited time, so I'm hoping to just get as much as we can from the experience, document as much as we can, and maybe provide a few answers for the homeowner and say, well, these things do seem to be manifesting now.